Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Troller. 1972 to 1975.
Game 303, Reds at Marlins. Welcome back, baseball fans. 1972-75 Carryover League. We're back in the National League. We got a series today between the Cincinnati Reds and the Florida Marlins, who, as you know, would have not been around in the 1970s. So we expanded into their territory, gave them a team, and we have a best-of-5 series. Let's show you what happened thus far. Game 1, opening up at Cincinnati, Eduardo Rodriguez for the Marlins against Fred Norman. And the Reds take over in this one. Concepcion RBI double in the second, 1-zip. The bright spot for the Marlins, single sac fly, and it's 2-1. But the lead is short-lived. Bottom of the fourth, you have a Mincher double, Perez single. Bases loaded, walk to Joe Morgan, like that's never happened. That makes it 3-2. Bench homer here. 2-run homer by Bench again there. And then they unload on the Marlins bullpen. This thing's over 9-2 Cincinnati Reds. Fred Norman had a nice day. 7 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks. 9-2 victory for the Reds. Need to, as we'd like to say, clean up against the bottom feeders if you are indeed the Big Red Machine and you have aspirations on a World Series title, which is, at this point, in doubt. Game number 2, much tighter contest. Steve Arlen, interesting starting pitcher for the Marlins, threw on 3 days rest for the Padres in 71 and 72. Padres didn't even want him. Think about that. The Padres. They expanded in 1969. And the Marlins picked up the Padres leftovers. And Arlen's job is just to pitch on 3 days rest, not to pitch deep in games, against Don Gullett for the Cincinnati Reds. And this is a pitcher's duel. Interesting 5th inning I need to talk about. Scoreless through 4. Vic Davalillo singles. Then what's going on? He is attempting a stolen base over Johnny Bench, who is stunned more than anything else. He actually has to make a throw down the second. It's over it's over Concepcion. Geronimo hurries to throw back in. Johnny Bench, we give him a throwing error. Runner at third, former Cincinnati Red Hal McRae walks. But then Gullett gets out of the inning, loading the bases with a walk, getting Mian to pop out. Stays scoreless until the 7th when they get to Gullett. A triple by Hal McRae again, that's right. An RBI single by Guerrero. 1-zip. They pull Arlen because, frankly, they have better relievers, or so you'd think, as Bergmeier's ERA is 2 runs lower than Arlen. It doesn't matter, because the Reds, if they want to be patient instead of going for the big home run, they can be patient. A walk. A single. A walk. Joe Morgan, another bases-loaded walk. Like that's never happened. A Dennis Menke walk, and so he has a surprising number of walks on his card. Almost the same quantity that Morgan has. Interesting that both of these guys, of course, were packaged together in the Houston trade. Remember, Menke used to be an Astro. And so he's still... he's still here with Morgan. The walking tandem there. Anyway, it's a 4-run inning. That is all that the Cincinnati bullpen would need, as Pedro Borbon, who got out of the 7th with a double play, pitched a scoreless 8th. Clay Carroll got a save in the 9th. You know, the Marlins, you just have to be perfect against the big Cincinnati Reds, and they weren't perfect. I mean, there's just such a tight margin here. Just such an undermanned, every area of the rosters there is a gap. You have a quadruple A team against the best team of the 1970s, the Cincinnati Reds. So, 4-1 final. The Reds do protect home field, which brings us today to Game 3. We are down in Florida, folks, as you can tell by the music. With the Cincinnati Reds, the Florida Marlins for Game 3. Today's starting pitchers, and the Reds, let's go look at the standings before we get to the starting pitchers. It's important here. In the best division in the sport, the National League North, or Central we call it. Look at this, folks. It's finally happened. We knew it was going to happen sooner or later. We got a three-way tie for first now. Forget the seeding. That's not even done until till much later. This is just based on the previous round's results. Cardinals have played themselves out of any hopes for this division, unfortunately for them. But the other three guys, and it's those Cubs, still fighting it out with the Reds and Pirates. And they might be the three best teams in the National League. Even though you got the Giants here with the best record in the National League. At least one of these teams has to go, which leaves probably the Mets a couple games ahead of everybody in the East. But boy, we love to see these zeros right there, folks. Oh, that is beautiful. Nobody behind anybody. Reds, Pirates, Cubs. It could come down to rock, paper, scissors, folks. That could be the tiebreaker. It's written in the rules somewhere. Rochambeau for the National League. Today's starting pitchers for the Reds. It is Jack Billingham. 19-10, 3.04 ERA, 293 innings in 1973. Arguably his best year with the Reds. Even though they didn't go to the World Series that year, boy, that 73 Red team was outstanding. And the Marlins, would you believe another Padre pitcher? That's right, Rich Trodson. Same year, 73 as Billingham. 7-9, 426 ERA in 152 innings. Most importantly, he throws with his left hand. If you're wondering about that, the Padres had some guy named Randy Jones and Brent Strom. So Trodson had to look for some work as a starting pitcher, and the Marlins said, come here. We need every single talent that's available. Reds Marlins from down in Dade County. Let's get started. It's Dave Concepcion. 2-8 is a two-bagger. A double to start the day. Pete Rose. 2-6, single one at 12, but he cannot convert. He lines out. Joe Morgan, we put him in the third spot against lefties. Just, well, I don't know. I guess the Reds, maybe they're a little bit cocky after winning the first two. They juggle their lineup, put some different guys in different spots. Morgan was leading off all year until today. He bats third, where actually Sparky Anderson put him in the three-hole most of the time. 66, short X. 325 at short is Guerrero. It's a ground ball C. I don't know, if I'm thinking Joe Morgan, I'd just leave him in the leadoff spot all year long, 162 games. But we know that didn't happen. So they had good reason. I mean, heck, they won 108 games or whatever. So that apparently they knew what they were doing. And I don't. I understand that. That's fine. Johnny Bench, 5'10", third X. 2E34 at third base. And he makes the play. Vic Davalillo will lead off for your Marlins. 2-7 is a grounder to first. Felix, putting me on. 4-4 up Billingham center X. Today's center fielder is Bobby Tolan, 2E4, and that's going to be a base hit. Manny Mota, 49, pops to first. And Willie Montanez, 42, skies to left. Wrong column. Roll the 6 column instead of the 4 column. You'd be more industrious. Top of the second, it's Tony Perez. 2-5, let's take a look at some players, starting with Tony Perez, 1973. 27 homers, 314 average, 74 walks, 33 doubles. Finally comfortably over at first base. No more fielding ground balls at third. They moved Lee May out of there. They subtracted Lee May, added Joe Morgan, and that delighted Tony Perez. 2-5, Homer 1-16. Oh, but it's ruled in the park for a double. Perez was pointing at the wall. I thought it went over and bounced back in. They're saying, no, it's a double, Tony. So it's a double for Tony Perez, just missing. Now it's George Foster. 111 flies to left. Bobby Tolan of the Bells, 47's a K. Rod Gilbreth, brought in as a free agent, bounces to third. The Reds are in this third base hole. They don't have anybody because Pete Rose is still a year away from taking over duties at third. You know, and so they have a free agent temporarily in there. Plus, don't forget, we had to keep Ken Griffey off the roster because we have too many outfielders. So that was the same dilemma the Reds had. Too many super talented outfielders. They had to say goodbye to Bobby Tolan. Foster and Griffey languished too long in the minors, waiting to get their turn until they eventually got it and became all-stars. And an MVP in there. So, bottom of the second, Felipe Alou. 37 is a base hit. Louis Melendez, 59, second C. Runner in scoring position for Chuck Goggin, the catcher today, center X. Tolan's a 2-4, makes the catch. And Mario Guerrero, 66. Double 1-3. This is an RBI single after the single and ground out, and the Marlins have a lead. Celerino Sanchez, 58. Short X to Concepcion, 2E21. Thanks to play. 1 zip in the third. It'll be designated hitter Bob Barton, also the Reds' backup catcher. 65, Sky's the center. Concepcion back up top, 67, is a base hit off Trozen, a stealer. He'll stay there for Pete Rose. 57 is a K, and with 2 outs, we're going to most likely walk you to second so you don't have to steal. 32, fielder's choice. Bottom of the third. It's Vic Davalillo. 1-3 hit by pitch. Do you try a stolen base again? You tried it before. You would certainly have a leg up on the rest of the National League if you're successful stealing off Johnny Bench twice. Well, no one else is too chicken to even attempt it. Davalillo's going to take off. What do they have to lose, right? And he's out stealing. Yeah. Well. You like the fight, though, right? Felix Mian. 69 is a K. Manny Moda, 64, homer 1-11, double the rest. It's a 2-base hit. Now that caught stealing looks tough. Willie Montanez, 1-4, grounds to second. Well, they decided to be aggressive. It didn't work. 1 zip in the fourth, and here is Johnny Bench, 44, catcher's X. Meanwhile, Rich Trozen's doing all right. Couple hits, 3 hits, sprinkled through 3. Tony Perez, 1-6 center. And George Foster, 65 center. Trotzen, Rich. Probably the only year I can recall him pitching with a Strat-O-Matic card in the decade. Bottom of the fourth. It's Felipe Alou, 2-9 short. Louis Melendez, 1-4 short. Chuck Goggin, 5-12, flies to left field. Last 2 games have been low scoring through 6. It was scoreless yesterday, and here it's 1 zip into the 5th. Bobby Tolan of the Bells, 3-11, pops to second. Rod Gilbreth, 1-3, flies to right. And Bob Barton, 1-7, is a K. The Cincinnati Reds have left their luggage in Ohio. They forgot to bring their bats with them, as Rich Trojan's thrown 5 scoreless innings to the delight of Pittsburgh Pirate and Chicago Cub fans watching. 1 zip, bottom of the 5th. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
All right, Jack Billingham. It'll facing Mario Guerrero. 35 grounds to short. Celerino Sanchez, 4-11, flies to left X. It's Rose, a 1-3. Good luck with that. And with 2 outs, it's Vic Davalillo. 1-7, double 1 at 10 is a double. There you go. Best way to steal second base is to run there after you hit and turn a single into a double. Vic. Runner in a scoring position. 2 outs for Felix, putting me on. 2-9, we are not putting him on as he lines to first base. Boy, Florida, you have really blown some golden opportunities to put a smackdown on the Big Red Machine by losing technically a 1-0 game in Game 2 and only having a 1-0 lead in this one. Forcing Trojan into his breaking inning, at which at any time the Reds can bat around, as we know. Here we go. It's Concepcion, top of the order, leading off here. 53. Left X. Davalillo's okay. He's a 2-7 in left field. And he makes the catch. Pete Rose, 42. Comebacker to the mound. And with 2 outs, it's Joe Morgan. 2-7 is a K. What's going on here in Cincinnati? Their offense has come unglued. Manny Mota. 44, center X. Tolan's a 2-4 in center field. Makes the catch. Montanez, 47. Lines to short. And with 2 outs, Felipe Alou. 1-8. Triple 1-3. Double the rest. A 2-base hit. 2 outs. It's Luis Melendez. Need a hit here, Luis. 38. Let's take a look. Finally, at a card. It's Luis Melendez. Nice little Cardinal outfielder. 1973, hit .267. Could play all over the outfield. Versatile player. And 3-8 is a single ... and your Marlins have a 2-0 lead. Timely 2-out hits. There and there. Good news. Chuck Goggin with 2 outs and a man on. 3-6, single 1 to 19, gets it. 2 on, 2 outs. Billingham's a starter 8, so he can pitch a little bit deeper. Mario Guerrero, the shortstop. 2-7, let's take a look at this guy. The scrappy Marlins, chipping away at the large red machine today. Mario Guerrero was a Boston Red Sox in 74 with 284 at-bats. He would eventually be replaced by Rick Burleson. 246 with this card. And 2-7 is single ... That scores the run from second. Runners in the corners, 2 outs for Celerino Sanchez. 4-10 off Billingham is fly ball to center B. It's a 3-0 game. If you're the Marlins, look, a win is a celebration. They party hard when they win. You should really think about improving your defense to help out your pitcher if you can. Unfortunately, you don't have that option, except for bringing Ellie Rodriguez in to catch instead of Chuck Goggin. You know, not that, not that you're going to steal down 3-zip, but that's what they'll do. Ellie Rodriguez will take over as a -2 catcher. The rest of the bench is not good defensively. As Rich Trojan, and by the way, he can't lose this thing. He's a starter 6 with a 3-run lead. He'll be gone with point of weakness, or we'll yank him. We're not going to let this dude take an L. There's no L in Trojan today. 3-0 game, top of the 7th. It'll be Johnny Bench. Reds, don't be embarrassed on national TV, folks. 58 is a sky to center. Tony Perez had a double earlier. 69 is a base hit. George Foster. 2-4 is a 6-4-3 double play. Rich Trojan. He's got a 4-hitter over the languishing Reds. We're going to blow their chance to get a lead, even if it would have been a half a game, in their division. Stretch time here in Florida, where the locals are happy enjoying Buena Vista Social Club at Carnegie Hall. The performance featured within the movie Buena Vista Social Club, and I guess the record was released simultaneously with the studio recordings. Wonderful stuff. by Ibrahim and Campe and Iliads and all the wonderful people of the Buena Vista Social Club, and Ride Cooter and all that wonderful stuff. Back to the game. Bottom of the 7th. Billingham, well, he's done okay, giving up the 3 runs. Top of the Marlin lineup, it'll be Vic Davalillo. 64 off Billingham. Homer 1-5, double the rest. It is a single because he doesn't have power versus righties. He's reached for a 3rd time. But this time, I think Mian will do a hit and run instead of a stolen base attempt. We get the similar result. He's got a steal, and this is going to be close. And I think, yep, that's Johnny Bench power there, folks. Most 11 times you'll get safe. Not when you got a -4 arm catcher. You're going to be out. So that is a caught stealing. Another blown opportunity for Florida. Now you got 1 out. As disgustingly, Mian regrets swinging through the pitch, not making contact. 55, now he gets a ground to the second where there's Joe Morgan, a 1-13 second baseman. And now, with 2 outs, it's Manny Mota. 2-7, roller to 3rd. Well, that didn't help Trojan at all. He goes back out for the 8th inning. They're watching the pitch count here. This is like uncharted territory. The 8th and 9th innings versus the Big Red Machine. They do have Orlando Pena, Tom Bergmeyer, Diego Segui, all available. Leading off in the 8th, it's Bobby Tolan of the Bells. 66, bouncer to short X. It's Guerrero, a 3-25 shortstop, and he makes the play. It's almost like it's a no-hitter, but of course it's not, but it feels that way. Rod Gilbreth, 59, rolls a second. Actually, a 5 or 6 hitter against the Reds should be considered a no-hitter. That equates to a no-hitter. And with 2 outs, it's Bob Barton. He's only faced 3 over the minimum to this point. Bob Barton, 2-4, skies to left. You got a double play. And then these individual batters there. 3 over the minimum for Trojan. 8 innings in the books, 3-0. Billingham, he'll continue. Willie Montanez, 55, short X. Concepcion's a 2-21. Makes the play. Felipe Alou, 69, is a K. And with 2 outs, it's Melendez at the big hit earlier. 1-6. Short, quick game. Buckle up. We're at the 9th inning already. No defense to bring in. And there he is, folks. And he's already getting an ovation from these Marlins fans. Rich Trojan, Orlando Pena, Bergmeyer warming, top of the lineup. If you're the Cincinnati Reds, this is that one game in the standings you need that could get you the proper seeding in the playoffs you desire, whether it's winning a division or a high wild card or what. But this is, these guys destroy left-handed pitching, and they need to do it right now. Beginning at the top with Concepcion, let's start showing you cards since we're at the 9th inning already. Concepcion crushes lefties. Why? He's leading off. 73, he finally puts it all together with a 287 average, 8 home runs, a stealer. He's not a 1 at shortstop yet. He'll be a 1 soon, but still a ton of power here and extra base hits against lefties. Here's the pitch to Dave Concepcion. 53, left X, out in left field. You've got Davalillo. He's a 2, one of the best defensive outfitters this team has, as they have 3s in center and right. He makes the catch on a 2, fly ball 7, 1 out. Now let's take a look at your 1973 National League MVP, Pete Rose. Gotta say, give the dude props. His 69 and 70 cards are better. But in 73, hey, they gave him the MVP. He hits 338. At least he crushes righties. Hits about 400 against them. But against lefties, like this one, he's only about a 280 hitter. But still, 280 is 280. And here's the pitch to Pete Rose. 64 off Trojan is center X. The center fielder is Luis Melendez, a 3-4. Chance for him to have some star power today, and he does. He makes the grab. And we're down at Joe Morgan. Let's take a look at Joe Morgan's 1975 card. His best card, or second best, 75, 76. Both probably the two best cards in the entire decade. 1E13. I think he's a 1E6 in 76. 327 average, 132 walks, 17 home runs. The difference is in 76, he'll have 27 home runs. He's plus 80 walks, strikeouts. 80 more walks than strikeouts. Think about that. Who even walks 80 times? This guy walks 80 more times than he strikes out. Could you imagine a Strat-O-Matic player who had 80 walks and 0 strikeouts on his card? That's the consideration there. So Joe Morgan steps into the box. Just needs to get on base with one of those walks. Down 3. Trodzin. Fans are on their feet looking for the CGSO. Rich Trodzin versus Joe Morgan. Here's the pitch. 6-10 off Trodzin is a walk. Well, that was predictable. Morgan is going to take second base without a throw. No need to hold him on. And now you got Johnny Bench. Let's take a look at Johnny. Another MVP performance. This one in 72. Also in 70. Both years the Reds went to the World Series and disappointingly lost. 40 home runs, a 270 average, 100 walks. That's 232 walks between Morgan and Bench, if you're counting, in the middle of the lineup there. Here's the pitch to Johnny Bench. 67 off Trodzin is single dot. And, well, one thing is, you lost your shutout. Tough break there. And now it's about ending this game. You've lost the shutout. There are 2 outs. It's a 3-1 affair. Perez is the tying run. We're counting home runs, and there comes the visit. And there are some boos, even though you hear the fans cheering in the music. There are some boos. They're going to pull Trodzin an out away from the complete game and go to Orlando Pena, the closer, as you don't want Tony Perez to tie the game with a 2-run homer here if you can avoid it. Orlando Pena, great story. Came up in the late 50s, pitched in the 60s with some really bad ball clubs, had really bad one-loss record, pretty mediocre earned run average, disappeared for like 5 years in the late 60s, early 70s. Then suddenly, boom, he comes back in 1973 with the Cardinals at age 40 with a 4-4 record and a 2.18 ERA in 62 innings. I think he was 40. Might have been younger than that. Orlando Pena trying to get a victory for the Marlins and the rest of the National League. He comes on in with Bench at first in a 3-1 game to face Tony Perez. You saw the card. The difference in homers on 2-5 is 50%. It's a 16 versus lefties and a 6 versus righties. Plus, Trodzin had an automatic home run on his card. So, playing the percentages, trying to get a win for the Florida Marlins. Here's the pitch. Tony Perez. 45, flies to left field, and that's your ball game, folks. And the Florida Marlins do indeed upset Cincinnati by a score of 3-1. Rich Trodzin with the win. Orlando Pena with a save. Billingham takes the loss. Well-pitched game, played game. Reds bats just too cold for hot, muggy Florida. So we'll have a Game 4 that I'll play and give you the results of that, and a Game 5 if necessary back in Cincinnati. The Game 4 starters will be Ed Figueroa for the Marlins and Gary Nolan for the Reds. And so stay tuned. We'll have the results of that coming out shortly. Well, baseball fans, here's the box score of the game you just saw. The Florida Marlins. Hear that ovation? They got that win 3-1. 8 2/3 for Trodzin. 5 hits, 1 run, a walk, and 4 Ks. Orlando Pena gets the save by getting the final out. Billingham was okay. 8 innings, 10 hits, 3 runs, walking, 2 Ks. But, you know, the Reds kind of embarrassed a little bit there to not get any offense against Florida. So what do they do in Game 4? They seek revenge is what they do. Because it's the Big Red Machine. They're going to get over 10 as they do all. You can just, storm clouds on the horizon. They're going to get their 10 runs sooner or later, and they did here. Gary Nolan versus Ed Figueroa, who's overmatched, has a rookie card that's not very good. The theory with Ed Figueroa is that they will hold on to him when he blossoms in New York and hold on to that. That's what the Marlins have to do. They have to get guys sooner than later. That's how they got Hal McRae when he was a Red. That's how they got Figueroa. That's how they got Mode and Davalillo, too. This is a 12-3 final. The Reds just did Red stuff, all I can say. Double, single, 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 walk, walk, single, single. We got a homer by Dennis Mankey. We got a homer by Johnny Bench. We got a triple by Bob Barton. Yeah. 12 runs, 15 hits. 12-3 final. Gary Nolan beats Ed Figueroa. Let's just shut this down. So we know the Reds have won this series 3-1 by getting that road win. And so let's go back up here. And once again, here we are. We started this way, then we just split 2 games for the Reds, so they stay this way. They blew an opportunity to gain a little bit of ground in their division. Half a game, they blew it, so. We've had, let's see, one of these teams have already... Oh, the Pirates already played their interleague battle with the White Sox. So the Reds and Pirates are both done this round. Cubs still have to play the Cards. They could win that series and be in sole possession of either first or third place, depending how that goes. The more important number right now is all interleague and all cross-division battles are complete. So this number here is your division record above or below 500. And right now in the National League, this division is 5 over. You have to remember the Cardinals are bearing the brunt of head-to-head competition here. So they're 7 under a division that's 5 over. That's how talented those 3 teams are. In the East, a couple games under with the Mets a couple games ahead. Mountain Time Zone expansion, one team will always go. They're a game over. Mostly, the only reason they don't have a losing record is they've been playing the American League North. We'll get to them shortly. That division's awful. And out west, the Giants, and the West are a couple games over as well, but the Giants are doing really well over a lackluster field. Very similar to the American League West, same thing. The A's, just a game over 500 at the division. They're 8 over 500 over a lackluster affair there. The Midwest is a comparable division to the National League Central, 4 over 500. Everything's up for grabs here. White Sox are a couple games back of the Royals. They'll probably meet again in the postseason tournament to determine the division champion. Twins and Brewers still mathematically there. Here we go. This division is 9 under, but really it's this one team, Ohio, that's just been awful. You take really, really bad luck with a not great team, not very talented team, and a pitching staff that's been getting lit up, yet they possess talented starting pitching. As a matter of fact, the first 4 rounds of the draft went to pitching, and yet it still gets lit up. One of the 32 teams in our league, I guess you can say the Cardinals, have been in a tough situation too. But this one team, Ohio's really been up against it. So they're 12 under. The division's 9 under. So mediocrity here. And of course, the American League East is 2 under, as Baltimore's having an off year. Boston has a couple game lead. So that's where we are. This is how the divisions will finish to the All-Star break, because it's all divisional battles. There's 8 more battles in the 5th round of the 6 rounds. Here, it'll be Yankees, Toronto, a battle of 2nd and 3rd place teams a year ago will battle in this round. And then in the 6th and final round before the All-Star break, it's 16 divisional battles. And this is where the first and 3rd place teams play each other. Yeah, and 2nd and 4th play. So 24 consecutive best-of-7 series before the All-Star break. It's a lot of baseball in a short amount of time. So anyway, back to our result. The Cincinnati Reds break up the Reds. They do, in fact, take care of business, beat the team on their schedule. They defeat the Marlins 3-1. Thanks for checking this out, And we'll see you next time.